gauge.
Okay. So make sure these are shut before you take this cap off, or any of the caps. I could go on the liquid, and if I've got a big bottle, I probably would go on liquid, and I would just have to purge that with liquid and take the hit, if you like. But if you can purge with vapor, it will save potentially quite a bit of refrigerant. Yeah. And obviously, because this is vacked out, if this wasn't vacked out, or if I didn't have a shut-off valve, this hose would be full of air, then I'll be back to doing my purging up to here. But because we've got the shut-off valves are great. And there are other ones now, safe seals and stuff like that. A bit like the car AC, we can wind them in and wind them out. They're very good. So there are other things on the market. So just going to put this on the bottle. Right. Now, I've got a bit of air here. True? Yeah. Now I don't want to put air in my system, so I'm going to open this gently. Just a couple of turns, and just listen. You can hear that? So you just so you can just hear it. That's all you've got to do. Just demonstrating a little bit long, but as soon as you can hear it, shut it. Happy with that?
Yeah.
Okay, right. I am going to make sure that's nice and tight now. I'm going to make sure this is fully open. So you want the bottle fully open when you're charging, and fully open when you're recovering, because it's like a gate. If it's half shut, you're going to struggle. To charge it, I'm going to turn the bottle upside down because I want to charge liquid, because it's a 400 series, so it must be as we talked. But at this stage, I'm going to put the solenoid back on. So the solenoid magnet is on for pressure testing, backing out, and the very last bit of recovery, as many times it needs to be on. I'm going to put my liquid into my liquid receiver, but can you see the liquid receiver joins onto this pipe, which goes up there, through there, and I'll end up putting potentially a load of liquid into my evaporator, and if I turn that on, back to my compressor, and if it's a small compressor, it's going to cause potential quite a bit of damage. So to stop that, quite simply, let's take this off. This one back on, and over the cap. So personally, you can put that on there if you want, it's not too much of an issue. But personally, I never want to see that stem empty. Either I want the magnet on or the coil. Magnet or the coil. All right. But your thing is, that must be on before I turn that on, or else we're potentially going to melt that. For today, on these units, just to get them up and running, but we're only going to put 500 grams in, just to make it a bit easier to get the gas in, gas out. On the end rigs, you have to put 700 in. Even though they're smaller, they take more gas. When we run it up, I'm going to put another 100 grams in with it running, so I'm going to take it up to 600 grams. So that'll be enough to stop it tripping out on HP, LP, not HP, stop it tripping out on LP. It won't be anywhere near the HP. But it will be massively undercharged. So we're not going to get any cooling, not going to get much heat, and we're going to have pretty clear sight glass, but it isn't going to be liquid. It's going to be very light. Downside to that is the compressors will start to potentially get warm if we even run in for prolonged periods, but they're not going to be running, they shouldn't be running too long. Any questions on that? So I'm going to put 500 grams in, and what I'm going to do, first of all, turn the bottle upside down. Now, if you turn the bottle upside down, there's a potential for this to work loose. If it works loose, just deal with it, but make sure you've got some PPO. So if you just turn that upside down, try and get them sort of in the centre of the scales. Scales might wobble around a little bit as the liquid sloshes around, but you can see it's kind of settled there. But there's also a 0 button on this one. You can see the 0. I'll push 0, it goes to 0. It might have two other things. It might have clear, or more commonly it might have tear, T-A-R-E. If you tear it, it goes to 0. Right, I'm going to put my liquid into here, which is going to fill this up, but it can't go past that because that is on. It can't go past the compressor, so I'm happy with that. So I'm only going to put it to the high side. I need to open my lever, and that fills the yellow hose. So you can see the yellow hose is taken 20 odd grams, give or take, 30 grams. Open up my red friend, quite far, let it tumble in. So watch the scales, 100 grams, 200 grams, 300. When it gets to about 440, I'll shut it down, and we'll be sort of around about the 500, give or take. Slightly under, slightly over, doesn't matter, because it's not critically charged. If it was 500 grams, I would just keep throttling that in nice and gently to get the 500 grams if it's critically charged. At this stage, I'm going to turn the system on. So I'm going to turn the isolator on, this fan will run. To get the compressor running, I would need a controller to say I need cooling, or a thermostat. And obviously on a trainer we haven't got that, but we have got this on-off switch here. So that will act as I need cooling or don't need cooling. So at the moment, can you see, is off. So it's telling the system I don't need cooling. If I hit the switch, it will say I need cooling. And all that will do is energise the solenoid. System's all pumped down. The pressure, that will open the pressures, will equalise out, start to equalise. Then once this gets high enough, the LP switch will cut it in. All right, so on this side, LP switch there, HP switch there. Happy with that? Right, so I'm going to turn this on. Fan comes on, hit the switch, you hear it click. Watch the blue gauge. See the blue gauge rising. It's going to have to get to about 2 bar, and because of the amount of gas, it might take a little while to get to 2 bar. Isolator, yeah. And then the switch there, so same as this switch. Yeah. It's just an on-off switch. All that does is control the solenoid. The same as a controller saying I need cooling, so I need it to run. When we got a lot more gas in, when it's fully charged, this will be running literally almost instantly. Shouldn't be too far away now. He says, hopefully. There you go. Screen cuts in. Can you see the high side is rising? This is shut. This is shut. If I open up this one now, the red, it might do this a while as it goes in NLP. If I open up the red, the pressure in the high side is going to be higher than the bottle, so actually it will push the refrigerant back into the bottle. So it means I can only go into the blue, but the blue is connected to my compressor. So we've got to be very careful with this, that when it runs we just trickle charge. You don't get this when you're filming on location, do you? As well, if I move this around too much, it will affect my scales. Right, so this is running, drops down. I'm just going to open this gently and just keep this just a little bit above where it needs to be, and look at the scales. See it just trickling in, nice and gentle. So I'm not forcing in. If this needle's up here, it's going to be way too much gas.
You're trying to keep these equalised, yeah?
No, this is high pressure. I'm just keeping this. So I shut it. See where it is, like 9 o'clock?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to say an hour above, so I'm just trying to keep it about 10 o'clock. Yeah. So it's just above, so it just trickles in. So I'll take it up a little bit more just to show you. But what I don't want, if you look at this gauge now, I don't want it doing that, because that will be dumping way too much. You can see how that shot up? That will be dumping way too much liquid into it. You see it crossing up here? So you don't want to be dumping it in. On larger compressors you can get away with it, but the more liquid you put in, the more danger of damage. So again, I'm just going to open this up, just go to I've got a 700 in this case. 700 grams, both are friends shut. High pressure is around about 10 bar, low pressure is about 0.8 bar at the moment. And that will be enough for us to do what we need to do. Gauge off, gas in, gas out. So at this stage, I'm going to turn my bottle over, shut my bottle down, and shut that there, just so if I nudge it, but I'll leave that attached because we'll try and get that pressure out of there at some stage. Yeah. This stage, if we can turn the scales off. Even on the one side, just keeps it all out of the way. Alright? Give yourself a thumbs up at that stage, because that would be a cut. We'll go to the next step. So let's get the gas in. Next step is a bit awkward, but you know, realistically, I would have done my repair. So in the F-gas, I would have put my pipe in, done the brace joint, I would have done a strength test, done a tightness test, and now I'm ready to, job's finished, I need to get the gauges on. What's in my red hose? Refrigerant. It's connected to my liquid receiver and it's at 10 bars, so it's going to actually be liquid refrigerant. Blue gauge, half a bar, the rest of that will be vapor. So I want to try and remove as much refrigerant from the hoses that I can use a compressor to suck it in. Right. So this is a bit awkward. The first thing I do is shut this, that's equals one. Happy with that? That then seals that refrigerant in the red hose. My bottom is shut. So if I open my red thread, that will just equalise the red and yellow hose. Like so. Yeah. If I open no, because the oil pressure in that is going to be pretty similar. But when I do this now, if I open up my blue thread, can you see that will bring this pressure down to this pressure? I've also got a little bit of high pressure here, so I'm going to open this one. Open this one gently. Again, remember the arrow above, so nice and gentle. So that is now sucking it all out of the red hose, pushing it into the system as much as we can. Both cracked, yeah, see this one dropping down. I can open that one a little bit more.
You crack that one, you've got the red one open, and then you just
The red one's open fully.
You just follow the blue one.
Roll the blue one so this comes down to the same pressure, and at that stage I can open it up fully, like so, yeah. So now the red hose and the blue hose are at half a bar. In the real world, I might just backseat this and take it off and lose that half a bar. But in the real world, it's probably going to be running at 5 or 6 bar. 3 or 4 bar. But it's going to be higher. So what we're going to try and do is get this down as low as we can now. And one way I could do it, which would be a G, is to hit my switch. That will shut this, and it will suck all the gas out the low side into the receiver. So if I do that, just watch your gauges. And you can see it's kind of taking it down to where the LP switch is, which is just above 0, yeah? But in work you haven't got a switch like that. So we're going to do it the proper way. Get him running again. This is back seated. This is at extremely low pressure, so I'm going to shut this one. And I'm going to take this one off. But I've sealed my refrigerant in the red hose. So I'm going to take this one off. Dump that over there. Important to put the cap back on, or this will be a disaster. What I'm going to do now is front seat this valve. I want it all the way in, and that will block it off here. And it will force all the refrigerant to come down here. It's going to be exactly the same as shutting that valve in the mechanical version of it. Alright. Takes a while. Shut the valve, so it shuts the pipe here where the finger is. Nice and tight, watch the gauges, and they come down and shut out. Yeah? So now we are at, again it's kind of jumped back up, but around about half a bar, give or take, yeah? Now that pressure will depend on whatever the LP switch is set at. I've now backseated this one, so all that pressure is dropped. Shut that, these off. If I take this one off, literally no gas comes out. I now need to put my cap back on. Remember these on and tight, and just a little nip. That's all we've got to do. The system's not running at the moment because this is front seated, so to get the system back up and running and make the customer happy, I need to back seat this all the way. Hear the gas running through now. Nice and tight. Cap back on. And tight. And then keep them up to just catch it up. It's literally just a fraction of a turn. The system is now running. I can close these. Oh, shut that one. That off. We'll put it down there for a second. Now, really the next step is the job is done, almost, and I would only pack the tools up and then I'm off to the next job, or potentially off them to watch the meters. But there's one more job. This is a really important thing for everyone to be aware of. Is I've just put the caps on, and the job, bear in mind we've done a brace joint here, we've done 2 flares, we've done a strength test, and a tightness test, but what we will have tested are these caps, if they really want them apart. So, I'm going to use an electronic leak detector, and we're just going to go around the caps to make sure they're not leaking. So that's what you don't want. They're the unknown, if you like. Switch them on, you hear it sort of beeping, it's going to go through. I've got a sensitivity, so I can change the sensitivity. To be fair, for a moment you just want it sort of halfway. And it's better to check the high side with it running. Low side, you can switch it off and the pressure on the right side, but it's not going to go up that much more on this kind of system. But what I don't want to do is test the low side when it's pumped down, because there's insufficient gas in there. So on here, it is just nice and slow. Can you see I'm getting a sensor right into the gap. So what you don't want to be doing, guys, is just sort of having a bit of a wave around. That's not really going to tell you a lot. Well, it depends what the leak is, so if you find one, we'll have a discussion about it. Can you hear it go like that? It will go faster than that if it detects a leak. No leaks, yes? Happy with that.
You're running out of battery.
Oh wait, so I've got new batteries in there.
God, brother, you're at 16%.
So, you'll swap battery
Yeah,
now?
probably worthwhile.